Captain Midnight.
We'll never know for sure, but I think it was around here where Jay Leno realized this interview was totally going off the rails.
No, I was just wondering who told you that, because...
My wife tells me that often.
She says, good morning,
I'm still married, as a matter of fact.
Yes, well, you...
For those who don't know, that was an infamous moment from an interview on Jay Leno's Tonight Show in 1994 with movie star Burt Reynolds and Nickelodeon game show host Marc Summers. One of the strangest and most tense interviews in the history of The Tonight Show, and one that I found myself watching and rewatching, to the point where I just had to make a video on this, no matter how goofy that seems. I think there's a lot to be said here about the nature of celebrity, and how hard it is for movie stars to age gracefully and accept that they're not where they used to be. It's also a prime example of how Jay Leno, despite not being all that funny to me personally, was a really good Tonight Show host. If you want to stick around and hear that out, great. If you're just looking to see a train wreck, well, you're gonna get that too. If you find yourself enjoying this video, subscribing or sharing would definitely go a long way. I'm trying to hit 750k subscribers before the end of the year. With that said, let's get into it.
My next ghost, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, no, my next guest hosts four shows.
So everything before the Marc Summers interview seems to be lost to time with this episode, but an old article from the Philadelphia Inquirer says that Leno was joking about Burt Reynolds' recent divorce in the opening monologue, and that the first interview was really tense, with Burt pretending to be angry and even clipping off Jay's tie with scissors. I guess he got a new one during the commercial break, but Jay does refer to the scissors in the clip, so it's clear that by the time Marc Summers entered, things were already tense, and it only got worse from there. Things start out normally enough. Jay tees up a clip from Marc Summers' Nickelodeon show, What Would You Do?, where Marc is getting hit by pies, and they talk about the show for a little bit. Summers turns away from Reynolds to talk to the host, which, seems pretty normal, but apparently, it really pissed Burt off. The needling begins as Marc describes some of the goofy gags they do on his show, and Reynolds jumps in for the first time.
We've done some weird things on the show. We once filled a container with 4,000 pounds of baked beans and made kids dive into it, which was really great.
Gee, I wish I'd seen that.
You would.
And there's this moment after he says that where Burt kind of sits there, clenched jaw, looking absolutely miserable. Now, Leno smooths this over easily and is riffing on the show again when Burt Reynolds hops in once more, apparently feeling disrespected.
We have an obstacle
Who told
course.
you were a neatness freak?
Yeah.
I just say that because your back is to me, and I was just talking to a back.
No, I can talk to you too, Burt.
Thank you.
Watch out, he's got scissors. He's got scissors.
I think it's obvious here that Reynolds was in a bad mood and looking to pick a fight. I mean, Summers talking to Leno, the host of the show, by facing him is, really standard stuff, but Burt really seems to fixate on it. And okay, here's where I think we need a little more context. We'll get back to the segment in a second, but I suspect there's many viewers out there who don't even know who Burt Reynolds was, let alone that for a time, he was the single biggest movie star in the world. In the early 70s, he co-starred in the Best Picture nominee, Deliverance, which was also a huge success in theaters. Fast forward a few years, and it seemed like the guy could do no wrong when it came to crowd-pleasing mega hits. Smokey and the Bandit, Hooper, Cannonball Run, the original Longest Yard. Burt Reynolds was on fire and cemented himself as America's #1 star and a macho film icon. But this was not the 70s or the 80s. By 1994, the world had largely moved on, and a very public divorce from WKRP in Cincinnati actress Laurie Anderson, fantastic workplace sitcom by the way, holds up, had really put the spotlight on where his career was in very embarrassing fashion. He was on Leno to promote his new memoir, aptly titled My Life, as well as his CBS sitcom Evening Shade. Now, talking about that messy divorce is what kicked off this incident, but we shouldn't ignore Evening Shade either. By the 90s, a star of Reynolds' caliber doing some TV is not like a big actor making a TV show at Paramount Plus or whatever. The lines between movie star and TV star were a lot more clear back then. And the fact that he'd been reduced to a network sitcom, let alone one that was obviously on the verge of cancellation, well, that was embarrassing. Especially for a guy with an ego as big as Burt Reynolds. But okay, let's get back to the segment. Now, Marc Summers had taken some jabs about his Nickelodeon shows on the chin, but here he decides to up the ante a bit.
No, I was just wondering who told you that, because...
My wife tells me that often.
She says, good morning,
I'm still married, as a matter of fact.
Yes, well, you...
And look, some people have claimed that this fight was staged. I'll get into the reason why I don't think that's the case in a bit, but this look, right here, this moment of Burt getting caught off guard by the comment about his failed marriage, this feels very real to me. Here's the former biggest movie star in Hollywood having his personal life and very messy, very expensive divorce being mocked by a children's game show host. And it seems like he just couldn't take it anymore. Then we get to it, the water pouring. Marc's reaction to this, the big smile, the audience laughter, they still could have played this off as kind of light and fun, even if it was clearly, pretty weird. It's when Summers tried to do the same, only to get it knocked back at him, which, by the way, he said years later actually really injured his hand, where things took a turn. And where Burt, refusing to be a good sport, could not play this off as all in good fun.
Let me explain this. This is what's known as losing control of the program, ladies and gentlemen.
Not really. He's not a neatness freak anymore.
Referring to a comment Summers had made earlier, Reynolds says a few times that he's not a neatness freak anymore. And then there's a moment where Summers reaches for a mug again, maybe to go in for another attempt, before deciding against it. And Jay and Marc have some banter about how awkward this all is. The thing is, as cringy and awkward as this segment is, Burt Reynolds should have kind of been thankful that he was sitting next to two TV host pros for this, doing their best to keep it light through all the tension. If he had done this to someone less experienced, someone a little less concerned with how they presented themselves on television, I think things could have gotten way uglier. So Marc tries to go back to talking normally for a little bit, which is pretty tough to get back into. And he finally has to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Burt Reynolds just threw water on me. Did you notice that, folks?
And then, as much as he's trying to play it off, it's clear he's still really unhappy.
And you'll treasure it later.
Don't touch me.
He then tries to smooth it over by reminding Reynolds that he used to be on his show, to which Burt Reynolds pointedly says that he doesn't remember him at all. Summers is given a towel, and it seems like they're trying to get back on track for a few seconds. Oh, and if you forgot about that mug that Marc was reaching for earlier, rest assured, he definitely did not. And he finally goes for it.
A week and a half later it came, but there we go.
Now Burt decides to play it a little cooler this time, but still gets another dig in.
I deserved it.
You deserved it?
I deserved it. I did it to you. I deserved it.
That's okay.
That's the kind of guy I am.
Okay.
And I was saying to your wife the other night,
Marc calls him Milton Berle, the old-timey comedian. It's a little obscure and it doesn't really land with the audience, so Burt fires back with a jab about his job again.
I bet that plays good on Nickelodeon.
To which Summers says at least he has a full-time job. At this point, it's clear that the interview can't be about anything but this tension. There's just no going back to talking about Nickelodeon or whatever. I mean, there wasn't even enough time to bring out the third guest, Carrot Top, who gets bumped from the episode. I swear that poor guy could not catch a break on talk shows. Let me know if you want me to cover Norm Macdonald really roasting him on Conan sometime. Anyway, at this point, the producers of The Tonight Show clearly just leaned in, and honestly, I think that was smart. The pies come out, and the pair have an old-fashioned food fight / duel, where they hit each other with pies, and appear to make up a little. Now, it was the pie bit that led a lot of people into thinking this was fake. But according to Marc Summers on Tim Heidecker's podcast a few years ago, they had those pies in place for a gag they were supposed to do later, and that were then repurposed for this. Now, I am inclined to believe this. They did show the Nickelodeon clip with pies earlier in the show. And it also seems bizarre for Marc Summers to lie about it this many years later. More than that though, this was before the internet. I have a hard time believing Burt Reynolds would sign up to make himself look this bad in the back half of The Tonight Show with no possibility of it going viral, especially at this very low point in his career. The guy was always very self-conscious about his image. Through it all though, I think Jay Leno handled this about as well as he could. He keeps it light while acknowledging how absurd the situation is, and though it was really awkward to watch, I could see a lot of hosts, not Conan, but some others, totally failing under the pressure of keeping up the tone of the show while this weird hostility played out. But I think the segment is so memorable because of what Leno can't control. The entire reason the Burt vs. Marc pie fight still fascinates people, or at least me, isn't just that it's bizarre to watch. It's because you can really see the seams of The Tonight Show ripping over an excruciating few minutes. Way more unfiltered than it was usually allowed to be. For a few minutes, all the forced TV cheerfulness and carefully maintained star personas shattered, revealing something almost vulnerable underneath. And there's Burt Reynolds at the center of it, whose problems, insecurities, and anger briefly broke free from the PR machine. You see a host struggling to keep the show on track in the face of a star who is tired of feeling disrespected, no matter how petty it made him look. It's a fascinating piece of TV history, a time capsule from when stardom was more insulated, and what it looked like when that all broke down. So we all appreciate shows with sheer chaos involved, so I've got another one for you. Scav. Every year, the University of Chicago throws out a massive scavenger hunt list and the campus goes crazy. And Scav follows the top teams as they race to finish weird and creative challenges. And it's a lot of fun to see students work together chasing after the goofiest stuff imaginable. It's a really good time and you'll only find it on Nebula, a space where ad-free videos and unique projects provide a great viewer experience. It's designed to be the go-to spot for both creators and viewers who are looking for something different. All my videos are on there too, completely ad-free, plus some ones you'll never find here, like me talking about the new Buffy reboot. Right now you can join in and get 40% off a year of Nebula for just $36 or $3 a month. Lifetime memberships are $500, but go down to only $300 if you use my discount at go.nebula.tv/captainmidnight. Plus you'll get guest passes to share a week of access with friends or family. Get the deal by scanning the QR code on screen or checking out the link in the description or pinned comment below.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes too.